Hi folks, this is vk3sl. Welcome to the evening program, and we will inhabit the space with some nostalgic offerings for the next little while. Not terribly late tonight, still recovering from a bit of a bug, and we'll dial in with Frank a bit later on, around about midnight, and we might feature some of the music of Mr. Gottschalk tonight. I'm looking forward to that. And what we'll do is play a 20s offering. Now, this afternoon, we listened to Kitty Reedy, who is an Australian, a sort of a forgotten Australian. She was singing Little Jazzbird from The Lady Be Good by Mr. Gershwin, pretty much at the work's inception. Well, lo and behold, our work has just gone up online a few minutes ago, from Mr. 2468. I think we know who that is. He's a YouTuber in Poland who puts up all manner of interesting things. But he's popped up a recording of Percival Mackey's band in London in 1926. And around about the same time as the record we heard this afternoon, from the same show. And this is Gershwin's Fascinating Rhythm, a very early recording of this work. And I'm vk3sl, testing.
Fascinating rhythm, I'm all a quiver. Why the mess you maker, the neighbors want to know why I won't shake her just like a quiver. Each morning I get up with the sun, start a hopping, never stopping, to find that night the work has been done. I know that once it didn't matter, but now you're doing wrong when you start to patter. I'm so unhappy. Won't you take a day off, decide to run along somewhere far away off and make it snappy? Oh, how I long to be the man I used to be. Fascinating rhythm, won't stop picking on me.
Fascinating Rhythm, as George Gershwin would have originally heard it in 1926 there, a recording made in London, pretty much at the time of its premiere. And originally it featured Fred and Estelle Adair. Yay, well, what we'll do next is something I've been wanting to play for a while, and this is an unusual record. This I stumbled across the other day, and it goes back to 1932. It features Conrad Veidt, who was a big actor in the 1920s in Germany. He made a lot of expressionist films, including The Cabinet of Dr. Keller. What's his name? And Dr. Caligari, that's right. And he made lots of films. He went to Hollywood eventually. He sort of was just by the skin of his teeth able to escape the Nazis, and went on to do all sorts of amazing things. He even featured in Casablanca. And he's got that really sardonic grin. He made a film called The Man Who Laughs, 1928, and he's got that grin which was used in the Batman movies, The Joker. The Joker's grin was modelled on Mr. Veidt's grin in The Man Who Laughs, which is a horror film made in 1928. I want to see that film. Should be good. Expressionist cinema. But this film here, going back to FP1, is also quite expressionistic. It's a German film. And it's about a island in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. It's a science fiction film about sort of a man-made island, like a big airstrip, which turns into a city, and it has shopping centres and hotels, and it sort of becomes like another country in the middle of the ocean, sort of man-made. But things go wrong, and they can't contact them on the island. And the actual real name of the film is FP1 Antwortet nicht, which means FP1 won't answer. And I had a bit of a sneak preview of the film, and it's got lots of steampunk equipment in it, and look, it's just looks really interesting. Radio rooms, heaps of radio stuff, and if we end up having film nights again, I'd really like to show it because it just looks like a great film, really intriguing, early talkie, and it was made in German, English, and in French as well. It made in 3 languages. So anyhow, we've got Mr. Veidt sort of talking of sort of sections of the film here on record. So we'll play it. I don't know how well it'll sort of come across without more knowledge of the film's plot, but we'll just let it fly and see what happens. The track is Where the Lighthouse Shines. I'll bring this up to the microphone. It says, Where the Lighthouse Shines Across the Bay is the first one. So we hear Mr. Veidt, and it says, in an excerpt from the film FP1. So, got to hear this. So, I think he sort of narrates. But, anyhow, see what you think. I'm vk3sl, and we are testing on 160 and UHF.
Bound for the river blade, down on the Bay of Rain, play cards till they break. The bosun sighs, he thoughts from their minds, dreaming of countrysides where he was born.
Where the lighthouse shines across the bay, there's a cottage kissed by fume and spray. Cheerful logs to warm the winter day are blazing. Listening to the breakers on the shore, from a tiny cottage thatched with straw, stands a fair-haired lassie at the door, stargazing. Watching the dark clouds, dreading the gale, counting the days since her lover set sail. Where the lighthouse shines across the bay, seagulls on the shore have heard her say, come home, my love. Come home, dear love, come home. the lighthouse shines across the bay. There's a cottage kissed by fume and spray. Cheerful logs to warm the winter day are blazing. Listening to the breakers on the shore, from a tiny cottage thatched with straw, stands a fair-haired lassie at the door, stargazing, watching the dark clouds, dreading the gale, counting the days since her lover set sail.
Where the lighthouse shines across the bay, seagulls on the shore have held their stay.
Come home, my love. Come home, dear love. Come home.
That was Conrad Veidt there from the film FP1. Well, that wasn't terribly science fiction dramatic, that little sequence. I'll turn the record over and see what side B's about. It says it was an excerpt from the film. It's probably sort of the soft build-up. You know those German films? There's about 4 hours of build-up and about 20 minutes of drama in the middle. But here we go. Airman's Song. Again, an excerpt from the film FP1 featuring Conrad Veidt. Let's see if this has a different tale to tell. And by the way, this is one of these records with a stroboscope around the label, so we know we're exactly 78.
The distance seems quite small, with light halves of light stars, the wind and rain and squall. In warm or stormy weather, all day and all night long, you'll hear the airman singing loud and strong. Airman, devil-make airman, singing your song to the moon and the sun. Keep soaring with engine roaring, now your rise to the skies has begun. Faster! Keep going faster! Risking disaster and laughing your way. Through danger, that evil stranger whom you fight in your flight every day. And while the Milky Way you're passing through, you'll pluck a star to give the girl that you love. Airman, devil-make airman, singing a song to the moon and the sun. Airman, devil-make airman, singing a song to the moon and the sun. Keep soaring with engine roaring, down the line to the skies has begun. Faster, keep the faster, risking the life and the laughter and the way. No danger, that evil stranger, when you hide in your night every day. And while the Milky Way you're passing through, you'll pluck a star to give the girl that you love. Airman, devil-make airman, sing a song to the moon and the sun.
Yeah, jolly good show, old boy. They're up there. And there we have it, the Airmen from FP1. And what string writing, all of that wonderful embroidery there, lots of trills and fast arpeggios, all about propellers and stuff. In fact, the film is just fantastic to watch. If you go to the last 15, 20 minutes of the film, there are sequences on this man-made island. It looks like a big aircraft carrier. And you see lots of biplanes taking off and landing, and it's all very dramatic. And there's even there's a murder in the radio room, and you're seeing everything being broken and smashed, and they're shooting at each other, and there's big transmitters, and it's all very exciting. It's certainly worth a look. FP1. And I'll shortlist that one for a movie night in the year 2060. So, what next? Now, I'm going to have another crack at this cylinder. It didn't work this afternoon. I had a little bit of a fiddle with it, and it may work now, but it may not. So, we'll just have to cross our fingers. Hope it does. It's an amberol. It's a blue amberol from, I don't know, around about 1908 or something. And it's the music of Joe Belmont, who was a whistler. So this falls into the category of the weird and the wonderful, and I think it's Billy Murray's doing the vocals. I had to fade in a bit because it's slightly damaged, but we'll give it a burl, and we'll have a bit of a cylinder offering off an original Edison standard phonograph from 1906. Okay, take two didn't work, and I reckon there is a problem with RF getting in because it was working really well before. So there we go. I've discovered something. So yes, it was. I can see on the SDR we were moving into oscillation zone. I will keep working on it. It's work in progress. I'll see if I can find a happier solution. I might try and put a little microphone inside the reproducer rather than using a piezo pickup. Had to try again, and I'll just let that wind down. And what we can do is find another record. We'll take off Mr. Conrad Veidt, and I don't know where to categorise this record, FP1, what shelf to put it on. It really is unusual. There we go. It's an early parlophone. Now, we have here the Queen's Hall Light Orchestra, conducted by Charles Williams. It's a track called The Runaway Rocking Horse. It's a bit dusty, this one, but I think it's playable. It's got a Batman sticker on it. 2 and 6 it cost. There we go. All right, we'll hear this, and I'll get Zoom organised in the next few minutes as well. So see how we go. Look forward to catching up with Frank around about midnight. The Runaway Rocking Horse. must be something in the groove there. That didn't track well at all, that record. Very strange. Let me find out what's happening here. Something's amiss. The record doesn't look in bad condition. Is it the stylus? Over to clean it is really strange. Ah, okay. I was going to play a bit of it again. I'm intrigued. I don't know what's going on here. Let's see if I make a small adjustment here. See if this is better. Maybe if I use this system. That's better. Okay, there we go. It wasn't a lot better. I'm going to put that on the experiment pile, see if I can resurrect that record. I quite like it. It's light music, as it should be. Queen's Hall Light Orchestra, the other side. It looks in really good condition, but it's just not tracking properly. How about that? It doesn't often happen. You must have some gum in the grooves or something. Something untoward. Alright, well, I've sent the message off to you there, Frank. Hopefully it'll be at your end. And then we can start to make connections. Hopefully. Let me see if I got the sound card on. That looks like it's ready. So just, yeah, we can find another record from the... where are they? Where are they? That's all a bit strange. I'm pretty disorganised tonight. I had a little pile of records in my hand a moment ago and they've disappeared. Oh, here they are. They're underneath the tablet. Right, we'll pick one of these and hopefully it'll sound a bit better. What have we got? I've got a British Crown record here. This looks interesting. This is an 8-inch or 9-inch record. British. Il Baccio. Don Sesta and his orchestra, made in England. And I think we can play this. Don't often see Crown records in Australia. In fact, I think I might have picked this one up in London years ago. It might be the story. Anyhow, let's give it a bell. was Il Bacio. Sounds like an ice cream, doesn't it, Frank? Il
Certainly
Bacio.
does. Certainly, very much so. Very much
I
so.
think it might have a bit of pecan or something in the flavour, maybe. I don't know.
Yes, definitely. Blue Heaven, I reckon.
It could be. Anyhow.
Now, you really hit the nostalgia button with me tonight. With
yes.
Firstly, the Runaway Rocking Horse.
Oh, yeah.
Was a big theme in the 50s for women's programs.
Oh, really?
Stephanie Dest and all that sort of thing. Very big, yes.
Stephanie Dest, really? Was it used as a theme for them?
Yeah,
for
I don't say that it was definitely her show, but it was that sort of show.
Okay.
They were quite common during the daytime radio scene.
Yes.
There was a woman called Martha Gardner who used to have a regular show, and several others.
Yes, I remember Martha Gardner's program. Now, that's really interesting. Well, I'm very keen to fix that record because it should play. It's just for some reason it's just got some gunk in the grooves. I'll find a way forward there.
It's a nice thing. It's very typical of a number of those sort of thematic things that they had as theme music and bridging music between programs as well.
Yeah, for sure. So, or maybe
but even more.
Yeah, go on.
Sorry,
please.
Even more than that was Conrad Veit.
Right.
I remember that I used to hear him they'd play him a lot on the Sundays on Melbourne radio, because back in the day, as they say, you really didn't have very many hits played. It was pretty sort of solid, stately, not too happy music. It was just solid, and his sort of stuff, that got played a lot. And I used to be fascinated to listen to it. I was very small. I used to like to hear try and understand the lyrics of songs.
Yes.
And I couldn't. Part of that goes the Moonlight Across the Bay goes that there sits behind the door a young lassie stare-gazing. And I was trying to work out what stare-gazing.
Let's stick with these German accents.
That is it.
Well, there you go. I'm pleased it rang a chord. I was just intrigued. I'm intrigued by the whole subject. So did they have quite a bit of that type of soliloquy sort of thing, did they?
They did.
Really?
They used to play a thing called The Bluebird of Happiness by Jan Pearce, sung by Jan Pearce.
Jan Pearce. Bluebird. I think that Bluebird of Happiness, I think that Jamie brought that in.
He did.
Yes.
He did. Yes.
I think he had an original of it, or had a very important sort of definitive performance of that work. But oh, that's good. I'll look it up again.
Lots of light classics. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about the commercial stations now.
Yes, sure.
But very little, sort of hits, and it was only really around about the time that rock and roll came in that they really started to let their hair down and play that music right throughout the day. This
is fascinating stuff. So in the evenings, so was it more sort of after dinner? This is sort of music to sort of wind down to, sort of thing, was it?
The evenings got even more serious,
right?
And you had quite a few religious programs through quite a few. Mm-hmm. They were very common.
Yes,
but
community singing, that sort of thing. Is that
yes, communities. Well, they used to have a community singing program. Mm-hmm. And then they had programs like 50 and Over on 3UZ,
right?
And they were sort of audience involvement talking shows. I mean, I think you probably know all this, but
no. It's interesting to hear it described. I mean, it's a culture. It's the whole sort of time and place when they played these things. Obviously, there was an expectation in the community that that everything was to sort of wind down at the end of the day.
Oh, well, great regard was paid to Sunday, especially. It was like that all day, except 3DB had a hit program at 6 o'clock on Sunday nights. Mm-hmm. But the other, the rest of it was pretty serious.
So when they had the hit parades? From the, I suppose, mid-50s onwards. Were they in the evenings, or were they?
Yes, there was a every night, Monday to Friday, there was a program sponsored by Hoyt Suburban Theatres,
right,
called the Hit Parade or something like that. It was on 3KZ.
Yes,
and that was on about, I think, about 6:30, and that went for half an hour.
Okay.
And that was good. But the amount of time that hit music got was far less in those days.
It's really interesting. When did sort of pace radio start? That sort of pacey.
With the DJs, but in the as you say, the mid 50s or a little.
Was there sort of someone who really trailblazed in that way?
Yes, I'd have to say Stan Rofe was
really?
One of them.
Because he was very smooth and very fast.
Yeah, Stan the man, not Rofe the oaf, as some unkind people.
I love it. Yeah. Oh gosh.
Geez, that'd be lovely. Thanks.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. Well, that's great to get that background.
Please.
Yeah, on the programming.
So that was how it was, but it burst open. There was a rapid change once once the demon escaped. It was
sure. I mean, once that sort of American influence really prevailed, it sort of changed.
Yeah, that was it. It was the DJs that really did it.
Yeah. They became the stalwarts, the main players.
Don Lunn, and there's a guy called Jeff Haynes on 3UZ also, and
right.
There was Alan Laffin was. Jamie would know all this.
Yes, indeed.
I'll be seeing Jamie tomorrow, actually.
Oh, good. Well, look, we'll extend an invitation to Jamie we'll have to organise another face-to-face program sometime in the next little while, month or so.
You've had a lot of upheavals
when everything settles down a bit, and then that'd be great, because we'll we can pursue another theme and catch up and all of that. That'd be most excellent. Yeah. Oh, well, thanks for that. I really love the sort of culture of radio and the way it sort of fitted into the household and the broader picture, and hearing the type of programs that they used and the way they sequenced in the time. I suppose the networks would have worked in tandem to some degree as well. Do they all have similar types of programs at the same time? Was that the usual?
There was a lot of networking happened. There was the big Macquarie network that had, I think, 50-odd stations in it, or maybe more.
Yes.
And they did all of the evening quizzes, the Jack Davies and the Bob Dyers.
But would they actually pin one quiz against another, or did they sort of offset things? I'm interested to know whether or not they allowed the listener to sort of meander between
have a choice.
choice, or was it usually one or the other? Were they in direct competition, or was there more of a give and take, perhaps?
Yeah, I don't think they went head to head too much. There are only two really big hit quiz people, Jack Davey and Bob Dyer.
Yeah. How about other types of programming?
Well, they had other, and of course they had programs like that Norman Banks one that you've got, the husband.
Yes.
What's it called?
Oh, Mr. and Mrs. That sort of thing.
That's the one. Thank you.
Yeah. Look, it's it's great. Well, yeah.
But of course, they had orchestras, had their own orchestras.
I know.
And that's another reason why they had so much light music, is they had put these people to work.
Yes, it's intriguing. I mean, those 3DB group was very active. I mean, there's so much material from
Bill Flynn.
Yeah, gosh, yes. So, we'll pursue this with Jamie and see if he can bring up some more. Maybe we could sort of introduce the idea of a theme, maybe evening entertainment or something. Or
yes.
But
3DB was particularly interesting because the Bill Flynn Orchestra tied in with the Hector Crawford link through to Glenda Raymond and people like that.
Yes.
So it made for a very broad base of serious to semi-serious music.
Yeah. No, it's good. Yeah, well, it's certainly worth pursuing further. I think that's great topics. Yeah, well,
it is.
For sure. Well, I'm sort of on overdrive, and I haven't got a lot of energy at this stage because I'm
similarly placed.
Yeah, I'm in recovery mode, and I've got very heavy eyelids, so I'm going to try and keep going for a little bit longer. But
just say the word, of course.
Yeah, but we won't go for very long because
I'm going out to lunch anyway tomorrow and Sunday too. So
now, one thing I was asleep just before I came on, and I'd missed the Astronomical Society. And did they talk about the new black hole today?
Yes. Clint showed the photo that they had on his YouTube.
Did
link.
he? Oh, really? Oh, gosh. Okay. I think he's got it up online, so I'll look.
He
back
would have.
I've been following the media.
He gave you a
coverage.
plug as well.
Oh, did he? Oh, that's nice of him. I'm going to miss seeing him and others tomorrow. I imagine he'll probably make it to the fest, but
I think he didn't say actually.
Okay.
I don't know.
Anyhow, we'll hopefully catch up with Clint in due course. But
I told him I was listening to him on the coffee break. He's just,
sure.
And so he took that as a reason to explain to everybody on frequency what the coffee break was.
Oh, okay. So the network, it was all explained. Fair enough.
Yes.
Yay. All right. Well, I might even come up on it tomorrow since I won't be at the fest. Catch up with Mr. Gus. But now, well, we sort of we looked at the possibility of Mr. Gottschalk's music, and earlier on I did listen to a few things, and it's quite fascinating. This composer, Creole composer. I think he's part Creole and part English, I think, or Scottish.
Yes.
See if I can find my glasses. Yeah, there's a little bit of information about Louis Moreau Gottschalk.
Yes, that's the one.
Yes, so
it's not enormously great music, but it's interesting and it's nice. I think it's.
It is. Yeah. His father was a Londoner and his mother was Creole, and so he was brought up in America, and he went to Paris and he studied there, and he went back to America, and he sort of brought in a lot of American influence into his music.
Very much.
And he was a virtuoso.
He only lived to be 40, unfortunately.
Yes, sadly, he died more or less on the piano stool. It's pretty sad.
And did you read about the accolades that some of the famous musicians of the day gave him?
I know, it's astonishing. People thought his piano playing was as great as Liszt's. It's quite staggering accolades.
Slight exaggeration.
Yes, I think they might have been exaggerating a bit, but his music's certainly nowhere near as complicated as Liszt's music.
It's not. It's got a nice simplicity about it, really.
Yes, indeed it does. But it also, apparently, he did mammoth concerts and involving lots of musicians.
All these pianos and everything.
Yeah, tried to write works for 10 pianos and orchestra and 5-hour concerts. So he was a bit of a maverick individual. But
I think he was a consummate showman. Really.
I think he might have been. Yes, I gather that. And so I think Mr. Barnum had expressed an interest in Gottschalk at one point. I think I read that there somewhere. So,
that's interesting.
Yeah, but sadly he wasn't allowed into the Paris Conservatoire.
Right here.
Yeah,
well, that's right. They wouldn't let him in.
They wouldn't let him in because of his heritage. And I think that's very sad and very typical of that time. But
thanks a lot, Kate.
So you've got your refreshments. And, so what we can do is sample a few bits and pieces. Now, I don't know where to begin.
Put them on the island bar then.
So there we go. We've got a piece called Bambula.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, Bambula.
Right.
Bambula. And, there's a piece called the Banjo. And so he brought in lots of Caribbean influence. Ragtime, sort of early syncopated music.
Thank you very much.
You're right. Yes. So all that was sort of a part of his input, and And so his music sort of and it's transparent. It's very relatable music, I think, and it certainly is a product of the earlier generation, sort of Mendelssohn generation music written in the 1820s and 1830s. So he's sort of harks back to an earlier time. It hasn't got the complexities and the rich harmonies of the later Romantic styles.
No.
But
you can hear the beginnings of I think of the sort of Creole Negro jazz thing.
Well, this is it. This is what's intriguing. And he was very nationalistic, and he put American folk songs, and there's quite a few examples of that as well. And often set one tune against another. I think we've got Yankee Doodle set against the American national anthem or something, and so this sort of thing. But look, here's a work called Pasquinade.
This is the one I really like.
That's right. I noted that down. So it's a caprice. It's written by Gottschalk, and it's Opus 59. So it's slightly later work. But we'll have a listen for the influences in this, and I'll just dial it up. We're just finding it here on the list. Pasquinade, the music of Gottschalk. I'm vk3sl testing. And there's a bit of a lead in with these.
Okay.
How about that? That was impressive. They're very attractive, aren't they? They're great little tunes.
I've just lost you on Zoom.
Oh, really? You got me again now?
No,
Zoom is disconnected. That's a bit weird. I wonder why.
No.
I'll try again. Is that better now? No?
I've got the computer in another room.
Yeah, sure. All right. Now I can see that I'm coming through on the little monitoring thing.
But I get out and then come back in again.
Maybe it's worthwhile. Maybe give it another try. We'll put a different piece on this time. We'll hear a work called The Banjo. They're really sprightly, delightful pieces. They're delicious, really.
Was that played by somebody called Ivan Davis?
Yes, Ivan Davis.
Well,
yeah.
Ivan Davis playing the banjo. He has a little bit of speaking before it, which is quite interesting.
Oh, really? Okay. I wonder if this is this one. Yes, it says Ivan Davis playing the banjo.
Total time's about 5 minutes, I think.
Yeah, sure. I wonder if it's the same version. We'll play it and see. But yes, Ivan Davis. It just started then. It didn't have speaking on this particular one, but we'll play it anyhow, and then we'll see if we can ascertain what that's all about.
Sure.
So here we go. The Banjo, Opus 15 by Mr. Gottschalk on vk3sl. That was fantastic. Bit of Camptown Races, I think, at the end or something.
Little nod to Stephen Foster.
I think so, yes. Oh, there we go. That's it's very evocative, isn't it? I mean, it really has, it's a lot of personality and character, and I like the way you had that suspended in a line, in a voice that sort of just carried just very gracefully in the midst of all that, and it was very beautifully played with lots of lightness.
Oh, yeah.
In
respect, it was really...
It was really great. It says on the score here, I've got the score on the screen.
Oh, really?
With it. Yeah, this particular set with Ivan Davies has the score for every one, so I'm reading the music as it's going. And it says fantasy grotesque. I love it. So there we go. We just heard a grotesque fantasy. But that's the way they did it then. They used to use those sort of terms.
Yeah.
But we could hear the banjo strumming away there. Very evocative.
It's music of its time, but I think it's interesting.
Oh, look, it sure is. I love it. I think it's got lots of character. Now, are you hearing me off Zoom still or not?
No, I've given up on Zoom for the time being.
Oh, no. That's frustrating.
Yeah, well, I can have another go.
I just feel for you. I wish there was an easier way. It looks like it's coming up. I can... maybe I should restart here. I could try that here.
Well, if you like, or I could stop.
We could just try and see what's going on. I know these things can end up being...
I've got a different arrangement tonight. I've got the radio in a different room.
Yeah, sure.
But I can still do it.
That's okay. No, we don't... Oh, so I've got the same... Yeah, look, I've got the right audio. It should be working. Should be... I can re-plug it. I haven't been dancing around treading on leads. That's often a problem when I move a lot, you see, and I trip up on things sometimes.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've done that tonight. Oh, dear. I can see that you're coming through because the AGC's right, and we're obviously hearing you, but for some reason I'm not coming back to you. That is a bit strange.
Oh, okay. Well, look, let me go out and have another play with it.
Well, if you want to. It's up to you. I mean, if it's working, but it is a bit frustrating because there would be a degree of latency. And
well, let's stick on this one.
All right, then. Whatever's comfortable for you.
This is vk3sl.
Okay. Oh, you're on 2. Oh, I didn't even realise you.
What did you think I was doing?
I thought you were still on Zoom. So, you're on
I have become vk3sl.
You have indeed. Okay.
My alter ego.
Yeah, there we go. I'll just turn off the Zoom then. Okay. Look, 2's absolutely fine.
We're not going to be real big long time.
No, we won't be. It won't be a long session anyhow. No, we'll just stick with 2 meters. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. Here's another one. La Gallina, the hen. So we'll have a listen to this. These are great because I like a piece that's got a little bit of programmatic intent.
Absolutely.
And
he's very much into it, isn't he?
Yeah, he certainly is. This would have been such crowd-pleasing music. The people would have just loved this. And if he was a showman to boot and had lots of, sweep and gesture and
25 pianos.
Yeah, that's right. People would have just lapped it up. Now let's have a listen to La Gallina, the hen, and this is a dance Cubain, it says. So I wonder if this means it's got Cuban influence. We'll wait and see.
Mind boggles.
It does indeed. This is the hen, and we're queuing up. The queue up's a bit longer on these. We're right to go. was great. Music of Gottschalk. And he was an American composer who was born, I think, in 1829 and died in 1969.
1869,
yeah. Just lived to the age of 40 and toured constantly. He gave
Yellow fever, I think.
I think it was, yeah. He just caught him out. And they say he gave over 1,000 concerts and was just a really omnipresent artist and wrote lots of music. Sadly, a lot of his music's gone, apparently.
Lost.
Yeah, that was a little bit sad to read that. Yeah, and it's all good. Now, I noticed that Naxos, that's the label we were talking about earlier on.
Yes, a great label.
Yes.
I've got a lot of Naxos.
Yeah, likewise.
I got them partly because they were cheap and partly because they were very good.
Yeah, they are good. They're always good performances, and they're well recorded, and they play a lot of, a lot of music that you would never find anywhere else. And here's a case in point. Here's a Naxos offering, and it is the orchestral music of Louis Moreau Gottschalk.
Oh, really?
Gottschalk. He wrote a few things. He wrote a couple of symphonies, and he wrote Time Poem, A Night in the Tropics. We might play a little of that shortly too. And but here's a Presto Maestoso from, I think it's from his second symphony, and this is off a Naxos CD. So we'll have a listen to this. So all you have to do, Naxos have been really good in availing, like they make a lot of their materials up on YouTube as well. So they're sort of a very present label. So
yes,
that's a really good marketing thing. They're not overly litigious and that sort of thing. So it's a positive. So here we go. Here's a Presto Maestoso from Gottschalk's, I think, second symphony. So let's hear him writing for full orchestra. We'll just have a sample. Mr. Gottschalk. That was an excerpt from his Second Symphony. And we heard quite a lot of American folk influence and just a great sort of expansive writing. And I thoroughly enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's really good. This is a great topic, actually, Frank. It's good to hear American music at its inception, really, because this is a long time before Charles Ives and others were really sort of trying to find forge an American voice.
Yes.
And this really pertains to that sort of, the Civil War era, and that strong folk influence that was brought over from Ireland and Britain. And they're great tunes, and of course a lot of American influence, of course, and Caribbean influence as well.
Yes, it's all there.
So it's all sort of together in an earlier generation. So it's really significant from that point of view. He wrote this piece called Union, which is a paraphrase de concert, and this was, I think, his magnum opus. And as this is, it's crazy stuff. It's absolutely. I did listen to this whole thing before, and it's well worth the 8 minutes. And I'll probably have to wind up after this, but. But I will play this all because it's, I think he wrote this during the Civil War and he was on the side of the Union.
He was, yes, I read that.
Yeah, and it's a concert paraphrase on national airs, including the Star-Spangled Banner, Yankee Doodle, and Hail Columbia. And at the end, he combines Yankee Doodle and Hail Columbia both at the same time.
Wow.
One piece in one hand, one piece in the other hand.
Good heavens.
And so you get this sort of just bold amalgamation. It's just brilliant. It's just all out there. So, it's got to be heard. It's so in your face. But I love it. I just think it's really approachable stuff.
It certainly is.
Yeah, so here we go. It's called Union Paraphrase de Concert. And we're listening to the music of Gottschalk this evening. And also, here we go. Yes, he gets a round of applause for that. That was a big achievement. Now, how about that? All of that playful sort of... I like the way he just introduces the folk elements and just sort of playfully lets them sort of happen and transmute, and then they suddenly sort of get enveloped in these grand concepts.
Terrific.
And even to the point of putting one piece in one hand and one piece in the other.
Yeah.
How's that ending?
That fits together reasonably well.
It did, yeah. He made it all work. Yeah, quite an achievement, really.
I think so.
Yeah, Mr. Gottschalk. Oh, well, that was great. Well, Frank, I'm going to have to wind up, unfortunately. Yep. I'm sort of aching all over and I'm tired and I've got to sleep. And so that's what's happening. But look, we'll be back tomorrow and hopefully we'll get a Hamfest report.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, I'm going to be a bit late on because I've got to come back from Bow Morris to here.
Okay, sure.
And I'm not quite sure what time we're winding up, but...
fair enough, that's okay.
It'll be whatever it is,
yes.
But I should certainly be back before the finish.
Okay, that's fine. Well, look, we'll catch up with you whenever you're around, and there won't be any missions on Sunday because I'm looking forward to attending 2 concerts on Sunday afternoon.
2 concerts?
Yep. Henry's got one at the Recital Centre, and the girls have got one at Scotch Chapel, I think, with the choir, or it might be the PLC Chapel. But so it should be good.
Any clashing or
no? They're both one after the other. So it's a whole afternoon of concerts.
Great organised. Oh, lovely.
So it's really good. So looking forward to that. And what we'll do to wind up for tonight, there's another orchestral piece, and I'll just let this play out. It's called Symphonie Romantique. Romantique, La Nuit des Tropiques, the night in the tropics.
Oh, yes.
And it's a little festa criolla. So it's a movement from that. It's another Naxos release, and we'll play this to wind up. And thank you, Frank. Thank you for your great suggestion. It was really, really good topic for emissions.
It's worth hearing.
Yeah, absolutely it is. So I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I'll be listening out for him now. I'll want to hear other pieces. And everyone else, thank you for tuning in, and good luck at the Hamfest tomorrow. I hope you get lots of bargains. I hope you get me lots of bargains. No, I hope you can find all sorts of amazing things. And I hope it's a good show and a good social contact and all of those things, because there'll be more. They'll start to crank up again the Hamfest, so I'll be at the next one for sure. Yay! All right, let's continue with the music, and we'll say our cheers. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Steve. VK3JR clear.
And vk3sl saying cheers for now.